What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already found us, we're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, William Fratelli Cooking and Guns channel, where we post a cooking video each week. We try our best to post at least one cooking video a week, and then we post something that we started about a month and a half ago now, almost 2 months, something called Sunday-Gunday, where we post gun content. We do gun reviews, we do safety reviews, safety equipment reviews, and just general advice on how you should be maneuvering in uncertain times that we're living in. We basically started doing this content so we could collaborate with other channels on YouTube that are doing the same thing, just giving guidance, no legal advice. Channels like Gun Freak Nation on YouTube, Trey 57 Production, and finally the Alert Zone TV. These are 3 channels that collaborate with us. They do the same thing. They just try to post gun reviews and just good content for you guys that are involved in the Second Amendment community and want to just be safe with your firearms. Really quick, tonight's topic is going to be something that it's not going to be a gun review. It's going to be one of these videos where we do a little bit of talking, like I usually like. Sometimes I don't end the video on time, but tonight's topic is going to be avoiding third-party encounters. Now, what we mean by third-party encounters is avoiding encounters on the street when you're a legally armed civilian, a private citizen that's armed, and you have a firearm on you. You have a big responsibility when you take that responsibility to carry a firearm, and what your limits are. You're not out here to be some cop. You might be a cop like me when you're off, but this is not for cops. This is going to be for the average private citizen that's just walking around every day, just doing their everyday lives, going to the grocery store, going to the ATM, going to and from work and home, and how you should conduct yourself when you're in a capacity like that, an armed civilian. You need to know what your limitations are, and you need to know what you need to look out for when it comes to third-party encounters that you're not part of, encounters that you may witness throughout your lives and might get involved in. You might not have a choice, and you might have to get involved in some of these things, but if you're able to avoid them, you need to. We need to avoid situations that we're not aware of, and that's the reason for this video. We want to post our fun gun reviews as usual, cooking reviews, but when we do these classroom environment reviews where we get out the whiteboard, I have the whiteboard behind me, we want you guys to just get a clear picture of what we're talking about and why it's so important for you to know these things and what mistakes to avoid. That way you continue to remain armed and cherish your Second Amendment and just be responsible. We want everybody to be responsible on this channel. We don't want anyone to make any mistakes or do the wrong thing. So we're gonna go ahead and this is the intro. We're gonna set up the whiteboard here behind us, but before we do that, as usual, we're gonna get into disclosure. This channel is for educational purposes only. We preach lawful self-defense. We're by no means gun fanatics. We're not giving any legal advice like we usually say. We're not. It's just guidance, and we're simply voicing our opinions, and we want you guys to be responsible with your firearms and what you should and should not do. We are also not claiming to be firearms experts. We just want you to know why you should maintain your firearms, be responsible with those firearms, and just try to be stable, be mentally stable, and maintain that stability, and just be of moral behavior at all times. Be of a responsible civilian with your firearms when you're carrying your firearms. A message to the trolls as usual: we're not going to tolerate it. We get trolls on the channel all the time. What we do here is we just simply block them, like the other gun channels that we work with, the 3 channels. We don't entertain it. We don't have any time to entertain it. Even message to somebody that wants to act like a troll. We don't just deal with trolls. We deal with people that want to sometimes just act like a troll. You're going to get blocked too. It's an easy thing. We don't have time to entertain that. So that's a message for the trolls. We're coming from 16 years of law enforcement experience. Myself, I've been a armed security officer in the state of Florida since 2010. So 16 years of that. And been a police officer now in the state of Florida since January of 2014. Right, so that's just some of our experience that we're coming from. And we're going to go ahead and get this whole classroom environment set up behind me on the whiteboard, give you guys a little bit of a visual here, and we'll do our shout outs towards the end. All right, so stand by. All right, YouTube, so we're back. We have our whiteboard behind us. We're going to give you a couple of examples tonight. We're going to try not to make this video too long, but we want you guys to just grasp what we're trying to talk about. It's a serious topic. We're going to give you some key examples of what we're talking about, scenarios that may not be exact like this, but they may be similar depending on who you are, what your situation is that you might encounter when you're out there. And then we're going to give you some key points on why you don't need to act sometimes. Sometimes you just need to observe the situation. Sometimes we're not clear on what the situation might appear to like us because we just rolled up on it. You know, we're not perfect. Sometimes something might appear one way to one of us and then it's not that scenario. So we're going to give you a couple of examples right here. I got this behind me so we could just paint a clear picture for you. All right. So example number one. See if you guys can see that. All right. We're going to put, let's say you're an armed civilian, a responsible armed civilian, and you witness a male and a female getting into some kind of an argument. Right? You got your male right here. This is a male, right? And then you got your female right here. All right. So you pull up to, let's say, a parking lot somewhere in an alley. Let's say it's nighttime, and you witness these two people right here. They're on the ground and they're wrestling over a knife. Right? You got a knife right here. It's not clear who has a knife, but you observe this from where you're at. You're just plain civilian. You're not a cop. Again, like I told you, you know, you guys that are carrying a concealed weapon, CCW, concealed weapon license. Some states might not require concealed weapon license, but let's just say for the sake of this video, you need a concealed weapon license to carry your firearm. You have that firearm to protect yourself or someone else from death or great bodily harm. Okay, that's what it's there for. It doesn't just have to be you. It can be yourself or it can be somebody else in order to protect them from death or great bodily harm. So in this scenario, you have these two, the male and the female. You roll up on them, they're already on the ground and they're wrestling over a knife. You pull up and you're a responsible, legally armed person, and you decide to draw your gun. Right here, we got a little gun right here. We're just gonna do it just for this. And you decide to aim it at one or both of them or whatever the situation is, and you decide to fire that weapon. Whatever the case is, I'm just giving you a quick example. That way we can get to what we're trying to say when it comes to scenarios that we're not aware of. You go ahead and you aim the weapon at the male. Let's say for this, just for this scenario, we're going to do the male and the female. They're wrestling over the knife and you just unalived or deleted the male. We're going to be careful with the language for YouTube because they don't like the K word. We have to be very careful on our channel because we don't want to get any strikes. We almost got one the other day. So for the sake of this video, you deleted the male. When the police arrive, they take statements from everyone that was there, and it's determined that the male was trying to disarm the female because she pulled the knife initially. So she pulled the knife on him, but you weren't aware of this. Police is here. Here's the police car. You're off to jail because you decided to get involved in a third-party encounter that you weren't aware of. You were trying to do the right thing, and of course, you know, we don't try to judge anyone that's trying to do the right thing. We want everybody to do the right thing, but sometimes scenarios are not what they appear. We might not have the full picture. So in this scenario, you're going to jail now because you shot the wrong person. You unalived or deleted somebody that was innocent. And you know, this can happen to anyone. You know, we're not perfect, like I told you, but we just want to get it in your head, and we want you to understand the severity of it. As a concealed carry, a person that's concealed carry, you have no duty to act. Like a police officer, when they're on duty or off duty, they have something called the duty to act. We do have that in place. But for you as a concealed carrier, you have no duty to act. You have no authority. You have no arrest authority. You're not a police officer. It's not your business to get involved. And sometimes police have no business getting involved in situations if it's not clear, if you're not equipped to handle that situation, you're not armed and somebody's armed. If you're unequipped, it's best to let the on-duty authorities handle the situation, be a good witness, and get this person some help. You know, maybe you could try to do something that doesn't require you drawing your weapon. But this scenario right here, big mistake. So we're gonna go ahead, and you're opening yourself to all kinds of liabilities, civil penalties, criminal penalties when you get yourself involved in third-party encounters. So that's example number one. We're going to go ahead and erase it. We're going to try to make this video quick. We have about, let me see, we have about 8 or 9 examples, but they're very short. They're not going to be long. That's example number one. Pretty clean cut, nothing too crazy. We just want to give you guys a little bit of a classroom kind of instruction again. We usually do every couple of weeks. We find these the most useful. I find these the most useful because they helped me out when I was first carrying a firearm and didn't know all the laws or whatever. I still don't know all the laws, but this kind of guides you on what you should or should not do when you're carrying a firearm. So we're gonna get into example number 2. So example number 2, we already got done with number 1 right here. I have a little chart right here that I'm keeping track of what telling you guys because my memory is not great. All right, so this is done. All right, so example number 2. Number 2. All right, you're in traffic. Let's say you're in since we're in Florida, we're gonna make this a Florida example. You're in the middle of the MacArthur Causeway in Miami-Dade. It's bumper to bumper traffic, and you witness 2 males exit their vehicles. They both exit their vehicles at the same time. One is in front of the other. There's some kind of a dispute going on where somebody honked at someone, or somebody, you know, those are very dangerous things that you can do when you get into, you know, you're driving or whatever. You honk your horn, or you raise your high beams at the wrong person. You can end up in a situation where these things happen. So these 2 males are in front of you. You happen to be behind them, and you witness these 2 males get into a physical altercation. All right, so we got male number 1 right here, and we got male number 2. Male, for the sake of this video, male. All right, their cars are right here. You got one car, you got the other car. I'm not a great artist over here, but I'm just trying to give you guys a picture. That way we can show this scenario and just try to give you a visual of what's going on. So you got 2 cars right here, and your car is behind theirs. All right, and you're still in your car. You witness these 2 get into a scuffle. They end up on the ground. They end up fighting. And then all of a sudden, you decide to get out of your car because you want to get a better look at what's going on. You're, of course, a responsible gun owner. Again, we're doing this video when it comes to firearm ownership and responsible concealed carriers. So it's always gonna end up having the third party in this. All these examples are gonna be a concealed carrier, just so you could understand the severity of this. This is why we're doing it this way. These 2 males get into it on the ground, and all of a sudden you see a pistol come out. It's not clear who has the pistol, which one is starting to tussle over the pistol or whatever, but you notice that the pistol comes out. You go ahead and you involve yourself in this situation. You didn't call 911 like you should. And that's what we try to preach on this channel, is being responsible, being of moral, you know, moral character, you know, being responsible with your firearm and being aware of your surroundings, you decide to draw your weapon and you aim it at one of these two. I'm not going to tell you which one of the two for this scenario, but there's a weapon involved, and you shot one of these males, or you maybe shot both of them. You unalived one or two of them, deleted one or two of them. Police arrived to the scene. Police. Miami-Dade police arrived to the scene. They question, they get statements from everyone on the scene. You later find out that the one you unalived or deleted was an off-duty police officer in Miami-Dade County. So in Dade. So the one for the sake of this video, because we're trying to make it simple, you determined that one of the two males was a police officer. He was an off-duty police officer, and he was defending himself from a knife attack. The male had a knife that wasn't visible at the time of the attack, and he drew his firearm because he was in imminent risk of death or great bodily harm, and you shot the wrong individual. You deleted or unalived the wrong individual. This is example number 2 of why you have to avoid third-party encounters as much as you can. You know, you might think you're justified at the moment. You know, we don't have all the facts, we don't have all the details. You could be there for the whole encounter, you could be there for a part of the encounter, but for the sake of this video, example number 2, you got involved in a road rage incident that you weren't part of. Rather than call 911, you decided to take the law in your own hands, and you just deleted a police officer that was off duty. So this is severe stuff we're talking about. We just don't want you guys to make any mistakes. We're trying our best to just give you a few different scenarios here. That way you can just get a clear picture of what we're talking about and different things that can happen when you're concealed carrying your firearm. It might not all be the same like this. We're trying our best to give you different scenarios. That way you just get an idea of what we're trying to talk about. So we went through that. This off-duty cop scenario, that's done. You know, the only time that you should be concerned about drawing a weapon or any kind of behavior like that is when you're in an unavoidable set of circumstances, or unavoidable risk of death or great bodily harm. It's got to be unavoidable. You know, when we talk about unavoidable, not all the time. When it comes to the courts, like we've told you in previous videos, we have something called preclusion. Preclusion, if you watch the past videos that we talked about, preclusion is always going to be an element that's involved, and the preclusion is going to go towards you. It's not towards your attacker or attackers. Preclusion is going to apply to you, and it's not something that's mentioned in the criminal world. We talked about this. If you look up the videos, concealed carry insurance and these other videos that I've posted, I'll mention preclusion and go through it. Preclusion goes to what you as a defender would have done in the situation, or what you could have done better to avoid. If there's anything you can do to avoid, it's best that you do that, especially when you're unclear of the situation. And then when it comes to the other party, the attacker or supposed attackers, you're gonna have those other elements that we've talked about in the past. We're not gonna get into it too much in this video, but when it comes to preclusion, it's on you as a defender. So you need to be very careful when you're maneuvering around. You know, you're armed, you know, you have that power. It's the armed citizen in the United States, especially here in the United States. I don't know about other countries. Armed citizen has a tremendous amount of power. If you're not aware of that, you know, at any moment you can take life. You can take life at any time. And, you know, we have doctors in place that have to get approvals, and they have to get all kinds of signatures, and they have to have certain hearings in front of judges in order to, you know, sometimes also, you know, in the criminal justice system, you have people that have to be put to, you know, be sentenced to death, and all these approvals and all the process that goes through with these people having their lives taken away, you know, being deleted, basically, you know, in a lawful manner, you know, in our society, what we have set up as far as the courts, as far as medical professionals that are assigned people that are, might be terminated at any moment. They have to go through all kinds of approvals and all kinds of signatures and hearings. You being a responsible gun owner, you have a tremendous amount of responsibility and power that some of you are aware of, some of you might not be aware of, but this is at any moment's notice. You can employ that, and that's why this is so serious, and that's why we're going through this again, classroom environment. That way you take this serious and it's not a joke. Right, we're gonna go to example number 3 for this sake of this video. Number 3, you're at a grocery store, you're standing in line. So grocery store. And while you're standing in line in this grocery store, you notice that there's a disturbance going on in the deli area in the back, not at the cash register where you're at. And all of a sudden you observe 3 males come out from the back of the deli. One of them is armed with a knife. So you have the one male that's armed with a knife, comes out with a knife. And then you have 2 males here that are being aggressive as well. They're being aggressive. You don't know which one of the 3 is a responsible party here. So you have the one with the knife happen to attack one of these males. So one of these males got deleted. You're over here by the cash register over here. Right? You happen to draw your weapon. And rather than holding everybody at gunpoint and telling everybody to stop, which if you had to, I understand in this situation, you have a knife, it's close quarters, it's not a easy situation to have to deal with. Rather than hold everybody at gunpoint, you just went ahead and you assumed the person with the knife was the one that was causing the altercation. All right, there's a big X. You deleted the person with the knife at the grocery store. Police arrive. And it's determined that the man with that knife was actually defending himself from an attack from these 2 males that came in. None of them were in uniform, but this male that you decided to delete or unalive had the knife because 2 of these males had shown him weapons, firearms from their waistband. One of them actually displayed the firearm in the back of the deli area, but the firearm malfunctioned. It choked, it malfunctioned, it stopped working. So this one male right here dropped the firearm. The second male had a firearm in his waistband. He had a weapon tucked in his shirt right here, and he decided to start, they both decided to start attacking him. So he felt the need to have something called a force multiplier. We've told you guys on the channel before. A force multiplier could be anything. It could be a gun, it can be a knife, it could be a baseball bat, club. Anything that multiplies your force and doesn't allow you to fight a fair fight is considered a force multiplier. Depending on who you are in the course of a fight, it's determined at that point whether or not you're entitled to have a force multiplier or not. Every situation is different, like I've said in the past. But this store owner decided to equip himself with a force multiplier, which happened to be a knife at the time when he was in the deli, and he was defending himself against these 2 males. One of them was still armed. The second one here that you did not delete for the sake of this video, we're just gonna make it quick. Police arrive, you're arrested. You're arrested immediately. Not because you did anything wrong, because according to what you witnessed and you thought what the scenario was, and it happened to not be that scenario. It happened to be a completely different scenario that you weren't aware of. Had you been a good witness, ran outside, maybe, kept yourself in a position where you were safe, you would have been able to call 911 and let the proper authorities handle the situation that you're not aware of. You might think you're aware of it, but it's not all clean cut. Things can appear one way, like we've said, and it turns out it's not that way. Okay, you're under no obligation to defend anyone else. We don't like to say that. We want everybody to be safe. We don't want anybody to get hurt. But at the same time, you need to be concerned with your well-being. You need to be concerned about getting yourself home to your family and not ending up in all these legal troubles because you decided to get involved in in an incident that didn't involve you. It might have involved you at that point. Had they came to you and presented themselves with a threat to you, that would have been a different scenario. But this is a third party encounter. Like we say, for the sake of this video, this is third party encounter. So none of this is going to be directly linked to you. We're doing all this just as a third party encounter with stuff that's happening to other people. All right, this video looks like it's getting a little bit longer. But yeah, so your third party encounter, this, for the sake of this video, it's not going to involve you. It's just involving other people. All right, so we got done with scenario number 3. Right, we're going to do scenario number 4. This is a quick one. You're at Kmart. Scenario number 4, Kmart or any other large shopping center like Walmart, and you hear gunshots. Right, there's one male right here and you hear gunshots. Right, you're over here and you're behind the frozen food aisle and you're armed. You have your pistol right here and you wait your turn, like we say in the concealed carry industry, the concealed carry community. You wait your turn and you have to do something called drawing from the drop, where you might be at risk of death or great bodily harm, and you draw at the drop when it's your turn. You wait for your turn. You never draw. If somebody has you at gunpoint, that's not the time to do this. But let's say you draw your firearm and you wait for your opportunity and you terminate this individual. You unalive or deleted that person. Well, you weren't aware of this, but behind him was his accomplice. This scenario we're going to do, it's going to be a lady. And the lady behind you, you didn't see her coming. And she had an AR-15 and she terminates you. You didn't see her coming because you escalated the situation. You acted too quickly. You've been terminated. You're no longer here. Now your family has to deal with that. Now you're not here to deal with the situation. You put yourself in all kinds of harm's way when you might have been able to just hide somewhere or just get to safety. We're not saying that this is going to happen like this every time, but we're just trying to give you different scenarios. That way you're aware. This scenario right here was actually a justified shooting, but it turned out bad for you as a defender, somebody that has a concealed carry permit and that was unequipped. You were equipped for the situation, but regardless of whether you were equipped for that situation, it didn't turn out right because you jumped. You jumped too soon, and it can happen to any one of us. You were not perfect. I'm not perfect, right? So we have that scenario. That one's done. Number 5. This one here is going to be a different one. There's a male right here, and the male is armed with a knife, and this male is having a mental health episode. Oh no, you're unaware to this, obviously. We're just going to make it like this for the sake of this video. Mental health episode. And this individual has the grandmother here. You know, they have a good relationship. This male, this is his grandmother. He knows this is his grandmother, but all you see is knife. And you're standing over here. You don't know these people. You don't have any relation to them by blood or marriage. You don't even know them as neighbors or anything. You just happen to be walking down the street right here, and you witness this male. He starts cutting things, like cutting at the tree. He starts stabbing one of the trees, one of the branches. He starts cutting the branch, but he's not causing any harm to the lady right here, his grandmother. All right, this is the grandmother. And you decide to draw from the drop without warning, and you terminate the male. All right, police arrive. Police arrive, and you were right here. I mean, yeah, grandma might have been nearby in this situation. She might have been, you know, in his vicinity, but he wasn't causing any kind of risk of death or great bodily harm to grandma. Yeah, he was acting in a manner that wasn't appropriate. He was acting in a manner that didn't make any sense. But at the time of this time where you terminated him, she wasn't in his vicinity. She was standing, let's say, behind a fence, and there was no threat to her immediately or you at that point, because you were, let's say, standing across the street. You were 25 or 28 feet away from this individual. This scenario right here turned out bad. This is somebody that was having a mental health crisis, mental health episode, and it happens a lot here in the United States. We've seen a lot of it since 2020. I'm not a mental health professional. I can't tell you or guide you in which direction you should go, but this is not the answer, especially if it's not a direct threat to you or someone else. Now, had he come to the grandmother and created or presented a threat, then your argument of self-defense right there for another person would be justified. But in this scenario, we're going to say no. Let's say it's not. So there you go. That's another reason why you shouldn't get yourself involved in third-party encounters. Right? We're creeping up to the end of this video. I know I like to talk a lot. Just want you guys to get the picture here. All right? Scenario number 6. So we got another 2 scenarios after this, and we'll be done. These kids are playing in the neighborhood. You got 4 kids. All right? 4 kids. 4 kids. 2 of them are masked. So we got mask number 1 here. Here's the kid. And he's got a gun. Or what looks to be like a gun, let's say. We're not going to say it's a gun. So we got 1 mask here. We got another mask here. Mask number 2. This is another kid with what appears to be a firearm. You don't know if it is or not, but it looks like a firearm to you. And he's got the 2 kids here. They're on the ground. And they're ordering those 2 on the ground to give us your money. Give us your money, or you're gonna be terminated. That's the language that they use with the 2 males on the floor. These are younger kids. They're probably in their teens. Let's just say, for the sake of this video, and you happen to be right here and you witness this. And before figuring out what's going on, what the situation is, you draw your pistol and you open fire on these 2. Right, these 2 are terminated for the sake of this video. They're deleted, unalived, whatever you want to say for YouTube. Careful with the language once again. You just unalived 2 children that were playing cops and robbers with their 2 friends. They were playing in the front yard. You weren't aware of this. What you perceived to be a threat wasn't a threat. You just unalived 2 juveniles. Now those 2 juveniles have families. They have all kinds of people that care about them. And just because you acted on impulse, because you perceived it to be a threat, you got yourself involved in a third-party encounter, and now you're looking at 2 counts of homicide because you acted on impulse. So that's one of the more serious ones that we're talking about tonight. You know, all these topics are serious, but these are one of the more serious ones, especially when we're talking about people that are not of age, not adults, and these are tragedies, and we don't want to see anybody involved in anything like this. So once again, this is why we do these consultations, whatever you want to call it, guidance. It's for this reason. We don't want you acting on impulse because you saw something and you're assuming that that's the case. It's not always the case. So we're going to do one more example, but before we do that example, we're going to do something here in the chart just so you guys can understand. These are not the examples, but these are the key points that we want you to take away from this video, and then we'll end it. Don't involve yourself in situations that you're unaware of. We're not going to write all this. We're just going to tell you that way you can program it, register it up here. Do not involve yourself in situations that you're unaware of, because you can end up hurting the wrong person. And this is just the reality. We don't want it to be this way. We don't want to have to second guess or be 50-50 that we're not aware of certain situations. You're going to end up in all kinds of legal troubles, criminal and civil, in court, if you make the wrong choice. So that's number 1. Number 2 key point is cops are not immune. I'm a cop. I've been a cop since 2014. We are not immune. We're regular human beings, and this can happen to us. We can be taken up out of here, like Trey57 says in his video. Taken up out of here. We already know what that means. That means we can be deleted. We can be terminated or unalived, however you want to put it for YouTube. Careful with the language again. We can be taken up out of here like anyone else. We're not immune to it. We get ourselves involved in all kinds of things when we're on or off duty, and we have to be careful as well. So we're not immune. We're like everyone else. And when we're off as cops, if we're unequipped to handle a situation, they don't want us getting involved. They want us to contact the appropriate on-duty authorities to handle the situation. So if we're unequipped and we're not able to handle a situation, let's say it's something that's involving something serious, like some of these that we've just told you, they don't want us getting involved because they don't want us involved in a situation where we're off and we're not equipped to handle that situation. Obviously, if you're equipped to handle it and we're solid and we know what's going on, that's different. But for the sake of these videos right here, third-party encounters, avoid them. That goes for everyone. We're talking about civilian, we're talking about law enforcement, security, military, whatever label you want to put on it, avoid it, because you just might end up hurting the wrong person. All right, and we're going to go now to example number 7, and this is going to be the last one, and we're done for tonight. You got a guy. This guy over here is chasing somebody down the street, and he's armed with a pistol. He's chasing somebody down the street, and this guy over here, he's not armed from what you see. You're over here, and you see this guy with the pistol chasing that guy down the street. They're running down a long street right here. Put the street right here. You go right behind these two. Without warning, you fire at the one with the pistol. You terminate him. Right? He's unalive, deleted for YouTube. This guy over here gets away. Police show up. Once again, we mentioned police a lot tonight, but this is just so we can make it clear cut. Police arrive and they determine that the one you just shot just witnessed a forcible felony. In Florida, we have forcible felonies, like I told you guys in previous videos. A forcible felony could be anything. It could be a carjacking, can be a kidnapping, can be a sexual assault. There's several other qualifiers for a forcible felony. But this one right here was chasing that one after he committed a forcible felony, and we're not going to go through all the details. But you went ahead and you acted on impulse, and once again, you end up in a bad situation like this. You end up hurting the wrong individual. That's not what we want to see on this channel or anywhere. We want you guys to just be safe with your firearms. We want you to take this stuff seriously. We take it seriously. We rather, you know, things happen. There's certain things that we can't prevent from happening, but that's what the on-duty authorities are for. They're uniformed. They have the weapons that they have. They're equipped with the resources to be able to handle all this chaos, especially when you're off. Like some of us that work in law enforcement, you can't be on duty 24/7, and that goes for everybody. Private citizens, anyone, concealed carriers, regular people, business owners, whoever you are, regular Joe and Jane or whatever you want to say. But these are the reasons why you don't get involved in private third-party encounters, and why you just need to be careful with your firearms, and just take a second to think about what you're doing before you get yourself in any kind of third-party encounters. You know, we had a couple more examples that we were going to do on here, but it got too long. The video's already pushing 33 minutes. We had another example where it's nighttime and you got a guy that's creeping around. You know, he looks like the old cat burglar, like not Trey 57, but Gun Freak Nation Terry describes in some of his home invasion videos, where you got this guy, he looks like the cat burglar coming in, creeping through your window and stealing all your silverware. Not the case in this one. This one, we were going to tell you, the guy looks like a cat burglar, but he's what appears to be stealing somebody's car in your neighborhood at night. It's your neighbor's Mercedes-Benz, and you know your neighbor, you've known him for years, and you see this guy creeping around, and he's pulling up the front end of the Mercedes, and he's attaching it to something. You go out there with your firearm, and you decide to confront this person, and you don't give it a second. You just go ahead and take care of him, like we say, and you terminate or you delete that person. And when the police arrive, it turns out it was a repo man. He was coming to take the vehicle because the guy hasn't paid for it and it needs to be repossessed. You just unalive the repossessor. now you're gonna be facing all kinds of penalties, criminal penalties and civil penalties. So that's one. And then the last one that we had right here was the baseball bat. We talk about a lot of stuff on this channel, people attacking people with tools and other equipment, but we're gonna go ahead and just put the baseball bat towards the end, just because for this video. You got a guy that you're witnessing in the backyard, your neighbor's backyard. He's got a baseball bat and he starts smashing property. He's smashing property all over the place. He's not injuring anyone, but he decides to smash property all over the backyard. He's breaking picture frames. There's a cabinet. He's bashing the cabinet. He's doing all kinds of stuff, and it's a scary looking guy. You've never seen him before, and you decide to get involved. And let's say for the sake of this last example, you decide to confront this person with deadly force, and you do what you have to do, and you terminate this person. And then when the police arrive, they determine that they spoke with the homeowner, and this person was hired to destroy this homeowner's property. He gave him permission to destroy the property, which is not a crime here in Florida. If it's property that you didn't give permission to be destroyed, then it's considered a criminal mischief, which is a felony. It's this destruction of property without permission. This guy happened to hire this guy to legally destroy the property and dispose of it, get rid of it, put it in his pickup truck and then take it to the dump and get rid of it. You, acting on impulse, you thought you were doing the right thing. You confront the guy with deadly force. Now you got yourself into all kinds of legal troubles and criminal penalties, civil penalties. So that's just another example. That's the last one, I promise. We're not going to talk anymore for tonight. But this is why we wanted to post this video, like the other videos we post on just talking a lot. We talked tonight for 36 minutes, and it's just stuff that you need to be aware of. If you're going to be carrying a pistol, just be aware of your surroundings, and just don't act on impulse, and don't be too quick to draw, because it might, if it's not coming your way directly, you might make a mistake and you're going to regret it. So once again, for tonight, we're done with the video. We wanted to post a video before this Sunday. We're going to do a gun review on the Glock 40 caliber, the Glock 23, but we decided to do this educational video just because it's good. You guys get some different content. We're going to do our shout outs again like we usually do. First shout out, Gun Freak Nation, to Uncle Terry up in Detroit. Salute. We have a lot of love for you and your videos. We have Trey 57 Production up in Pennsylvania. Hope you're doing well. We enjoy your content. And we have finally the Alert Zone TV up in Ohio, and we enjoy watching your content too. We miss you guys. We can't wait to get on one of these lives where we can all talk and just talk about things that have been going on. And then we're gonna go ahead and end this video for tonight. You guys stay safe with your firearms and be responsible with those firearms, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, cheers.